What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're coming at you with another top 10, and this is going to be your top 10 level 4 or lower direct attack monsters. Now, there's a lot of monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh, and obviously lots of them have effects, but very few have the effect to attack directly, and most that do will have downsides. You know, they won't have a lot of attack, or they'll have certain restrictions that may take away from your other plays. So we'll get straight into it. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have Jinzo number 7. Now, Jinzo's a classic card. Have you ever seen this? This is Jinzo number 7. This is his weird little cousin here. And obviously it can attack directly. It's got 500 attack, 400 defense, level 2, and it's dark. There's some weird plays you can pull off with the Jinzo cards, like there's Jinzo Jector, and you can use him to bring out different Jinzo monsters. So he does work with the different Jinzo cards. Plus, you know, he is a good target for a machine dupe, and you could maybe go into a pair Psychroid or something with a power bond, or, you know, whatever. Or just bring out multiple of them, you know, limiter removal, stuff like that. So he is just a good start off for the list. Plus, he's just a classic card that, you know, you gotta love. Coming in at the number 9 spot, we have Rapid Warrior. Now, Rapid Warrior is also another classic. You know, he's a Wind level 4 Warrior effect. And it's during your main phase, you can activate this card's effect. And if you do, it can attack your opponent directly this turn. Other monsters cannot attack during the turn you activate this effect. So it is something you have to do kind of watch out for. It's not like the other ones where it's just kind of lingering. You do have to activate his direct attack, and other things can attack that turn. But for decks that, like, maybe like mine, that if you've seen my direct attack list that I have so far, I do come out with the single monsters usually, and try and boost them up with those big equip spells. So Rapid Warrior is a good option for that. Plus he's a warrior, so you know all the spells and such that can go with them. Just, you know, he is a good direct attacker overall. Plus he's got some of the highest attack of the lower level direct attackers. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we got Jinzo Returner. He's level 3. You know, he's dark, machine effect. This card can attack directly. You know, so it is a straight up one, unlike a Rapid Warrior where you have to activate it. But when this card is sent to the graveyard, and it is a when, not an if, which is kind of hurting, but you can target one Jinzo in your graveyard and special summon it, but destroy it during the end phase. So that's good for, you know, maybe going into the Jinzo XYZ monster, and or, you know, they're with Jinzo Jector. His name is treated as Jinzo when he's in the graveyard, as well as I think there might be another one. I'm not 100% sure on that. But overall, he does have good plays, and he can attack directly. He is kind of a beefed up version of the Jinzo number 7. Coming in at the number 7 spot, we have Yugioh. Now, this is a classic one from the anime, and it is a half-decent effect, and he has some of the highest attack of a direct attacker. Level 4, you know, he's dark, 1600 attack, 1100 defense. He's a machine, and it's when there are only face-up monsters with attack 1600 or more on your opponent's side of the field, he can attack your opponent's life points directly. But notice, it is a little weird that it's only face-up monsters. So that means they can't have any spells or traps. They can't have anything else on their field other than face-up monsters with attack higher than 1600 or more. So you can maybe try and have some, like, basic permanent board clearage that you're throwing down Harpy's Feather Dusters, whatever you can to clear out their board as much as possible, just to have this effect go off. And then they could have face-down monsters, which could be a problem too. But it is something to possibly work around just to get that 1600 attack, which is impressive in terms of the low-level direct attackers. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have the Watt Pheasant. Now, he is level 4 and light, and if you don't know the Watt monsters, a lot of them do have the ability to attack directly. And this one has some nice little effects that it can attack directly. You know, when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you can select one face-up monster on the field and remove it from play until the end phase of that turn. So if they have an XZ's monster, you can hit it with that to remove it. If they have equipped spells, you know, you can hit something. You know, there's a lot of different plays you can use this with, as well as some future stuff in the list. But the Watt cards are pretty good. Obviously, it has 1,000 attack, 800 defense. You know, it's pretty decent attack for the direct attackers that are low level, and it just has a good effect. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Submarine Roid. You know, he's water, level 4, 800 attack, and 1,800 defense. And this card can attack your opponent directly, and when it does any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent becomes the original attack of this card. You can change this card's defense at the end of the damage step. Now, this one is one that used to confuse me back in the day. I just do want to throw this out there. Oh, well, I'll explain its effects. So when it attacks, at the end of the damage step, it goes to defense. So he is a good little walling card. That's what makes him, you know, half decent, plus the 800 attack. But this card confused me when I was younger. Because when I read it, when it does any battle damage, this card inflicts to your opponent becomes the original attack of this card. So what I thought is that when you, say, had, like, Mage Power on there, and you had 500 attack boosted on this, and then it attacked directly, it would do that 1,300, but then its original attack would become 1,300. So then you'd get that 500. That's what I thought its effect did when I was younger, and no one even questioned that. Like, I played a lot of duels where people were like, yeah, that makes sense, because it does read kind of like that. You know, if you read it, battle damage it inflicts to your opponent becomes the original attack of the card. But you could see how it also, it could just become, the damage becomes the original of the attack. But I was reading it as the damage becomes his attack, his original attack, you know what I mean? So it's a little weird how I was reading it. But I just wanted to explain that story. I think it's a little bit of lore behind the Submarine Roid and how I kind of cheated back in the day without really knowing it. But coming in at the number 4 spot, we have Drill Barnacle. Now, this card's a weird little card. You know, he's water level 3, aqua effect, and this card can attack your opponent directly, and each time it inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, it gains 1,000 attack. Now, it only starts off with 300 attack and 0 defense, but if you can keep this thing around, it can get boosted pretty high, combined with your equipped spells, you know, Psychic Blade or Mage Power, and you got a couple spells down or a couple monsters in a United We Stand, you can get this thing pretty high pretty quick. It's just about defending it and keeping it out there. And there is another card like it called Flame Sprite, which I have somewhere here I can maybe pull out very quickly. Just give me one moment. Right here, the Raging Flame Sprite. Does the same thing, but it just has a little bit less attack and defense. So, you know, same deal. But, you know, overall, he's a pretty dangerous little card. Lots of level 3 plays you can do with him to get him into, you know, maybe Synchros or XZs. And, you know, lots of water stuff, too, and aqua stuff. So he fits into a lot of little niche things that you can do, generic stuff. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Watt Cobra. Now, very like the Watt Pheasant, you know, level 4, light, 1,000 attack, but he has 500 defense. And it's this card can attack your opponent directly, and when he inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you can add 1 Watt monster from your deck to your hand. So this is a great way to search that Watt Pheasant and or other Watt monsters in the deck. And overall, he's a pretty powerful card with that attack and the ability to search. You can also search himself, so you can keep getting more of these out, you know, for that next turn hit if you're just going off for single monsters. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have Goblin Black Ops. Now, there's a lot of Goblin cards that do kind of similar stuff, like Goblin Attack Force. It goes to defense. You know, there's different, like, Goblin squads. But at this one, you know, he's Dark level 4, Beast Warrior effect, 1,300 attack, which, you know, is decently high for direct attackers. And it can attack directly. And if this card Attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. This card's battle position cannot be changed until the end of your next turn, except with a card effect. Now, there is some weird stuff you can do, where if you have Watt Pheasant, and say they're both on the field, and you attack with your Goblin Black Ops first, attack with your Watt Pheasant second, you can use your Watt Pheasant's ability to remove him from play until the end phase of this turn, so his effect doesn't activate at the end of the battle phase. So at the end of the battle phase, he'll come back and attack, and he'll still be good to go for the next turn. You can attack directly. So it is a good way to counteract his ability while still staying into the direct attack kind of archetype. So there is some funky plays you can get out with him, especially if he's boosted up and it's maybe just only effects for his attack, or you just don't want him in defense for a turn, you know what I mean? You want him in attack. With the next coming in at number 1 spot, we have Watt Giraffe. Light level 4, and this is probably one of my favorite direct attacking monsters, because he's where you can get some of the best plays off. You know, he has 1200 attack, which is just fantastic for these kinds of monsters. You know, they don't have a lot. 100 defense, but rarely are you going to be putting them in defense unless you're just out of the, plays to do. This card can attack your opponent directly. When it inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, your opponent can activate spells, traps, spell trap effects, or monster effects. So literally anything until the end phase of this turn. So how I've gotten a lot of people is if you have this card and any other direct attacker, you want to boost them up. So say him in Goblin Black Ops, and I have Goblin Black Ops boosted up with, you know, whatever, Mage Power, Psychic Blade. What I'll do is attack with Watt Giraffe first, because a lot of people don't read, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh players don't read out here. So I'll attack with the Watt Giraffe first, and then they'll be like, okay, I'm going to use whatever I have to stop the Goblin Black Ops. And then they go to do it, and they're like, what's going on? No, they didn't read Watt Giraffe, and then they literally can't do anything until my turn ends after his attack goes through. So after his attack goes through is when you can start to really get some funky plays going, main phase 2, and or just with your attacks in general. That's why, you know, I think he tops the list. If there's anything that you think I missed, I know there's some cards I maybe could add if I did a part 2 or an updated list. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that little notification bell, and check out my other top 10 videos as well as my you know, deck profiles. Like I mentioned, I do have a direct attack deck profile, and there will be an update to it coming soon. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace.